All right, welcome to the show, guys. It's your boy Mahesh. I am in the house. So today, I was watching Jimmy Dore. Those of you may already know, based on all the content I share, that I'm a big fan of Jimmy Dore. So I watch a lot of his shows, and there was one particular story today that caught my attention. So I'll just play it. I'll kind of let a few minutes play so you kind of get an idea what's going on, and then I'll give you my take on it and my reaction. Okay, let's get into it. Here we go.
Batmobiles in Indiana. So this rich guy who's a politically connected in California ordered one of the Batmobiles. The guy
Was it Batman? Or no?
it was not Bat, was not Bruce Wayne. So the rich guy he missed a payment. And so that moved him to the back of the line. There's only one guy who makes approved Batmobiles. And so he said I couldn't get a hold of this guy who wanted me to build him a Batmobile. So I had to move him to the back of the line. So instead of him getting his Batmobile next month, he's not going to get it for a couple of months because he was unavailable and I couldn't get a hold of him and he missed his payment. And so that guy who ordered the Batmobile, the rich guy, he's connected. He got so pissed off that the guy moved him to the back of the line and wouldn't give it to him right away that he called the sheriff.
Well, who is this Joker? I'm joking.
Ha So he called the sheriff in California. The sheriff sends people to Indiana to this guy to intimidate him. And they freeze his bank account. You want to see the story?
Oh.
Here's the story.
There is only one place in the country where you can get a real Batmobile built. San Mateo County investigators traveled there on a taxpayer-funded trip, and the I-Team now has the receipts. Good evening, I'm Amma Dates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. Thanks for joining us. The San Mateo County Board of Supervisors is taking action just days after Friday's I-Team report. We revealed that Sheriff Carlos Bolanos sent 4 investigators to Indiana last month to raid the only garage that makes Batmobile replicas
That's pretty
licensed
cool.
by DC Comics. Our Dan Noyes is back with an update
I want a
on
Batmobile.
his exclusive investigation. Dan.
Well, Dan and Amos, sources inside the Sheriff's Department tell me Bolanos sent those men out of state as a favor for a friend who ordered a Batmobile. Wow. And now I have obtained some of the receipts for that trip, funded by your public money. Last week, I introduced you to Atherton realtor Sam Adignostio, who ordered a $210,000 Batmobile from this Indiana builder.
Awesome.
Mark Rakup told me Adignostio missed a payment, that he couldn't reach him for more than 8 months, and that he moved the realtor from first position to the 9th customer in line for a new Batmobile.
He didn't like that. He exploded. He did pay off the entire car at that point, but he was absolutely livid to find out that his car was going to be delayed.
When complaints to the Atherton police and a lawsuit didn't work, several sources inside the sheriff's office tell me Adignostio turned to an old friend to intervene, Sheriff Carlos Bolanos. On July 19th, he sent a lieutenant, a sergeant, and 2 deputies on a 2,200-mile trip to Rakup's garage,
2,000,
accompanied by a local Cass County detective.
I was treated as though I was a criminal from the get-go. There was no discussion. It was not an interrogation. It was not an interview. They were there to intimidate me from minute one.
Rakup says the investigators from California told his workers to leave, turned away delivery people, took him to the local jail for an hour, but let him go. Only later did Rakup find out they froze his bank account and charged him in San Mateo County with 2 felonies, obtaining money by false pretenses and diversion of construction funds.
We'll now go to...
Oh, wow.
So listen to this. This is important.
Did you know that the sheriff
Listen
can
to this.
freeze your freaking bank account
Listen to this.
like that on a whim? So this is obviously, again, a political prosecution because the guy tried to go through the normal court proceedings and he didn't get a resolution he liked. So then he bribes his friend who's the sheriff, and then his sheriff uses the law, the government, to go lean on this guy, intimidate him, freeze his bank account, and take him to jail.
This is like how Suge Knight used to muscle the music industry with the Mob Piru gang. Except they couldn't freeze your bank account. They had wow.
So there's more.
public comment.
The San Mateo County Board of Supervisors got an earful about the Batmobile raid from their constituents today.
We've heard nothing about the allegations of sheriffs being sent to another state to pretty much abuse power and bully a businessman when the matter could have been settled in civil court.
I'm concerned about the integrity of the DA's office.
Yes.
The DA is supposed to pursue truth and justice, irrespective of a person's wealth or status.
This is just completely unacceptable. It's embarrassing. It's humiliating when I get calls from my friends around the country who tell me what the heck is going on in San Mateo County.
The supervisors order the county executive to get answers from the sheriff's department and district attorney.
Our constituents do want to have some answers, so I think it's appropriate that the county exec look into this and give us a report back.
I got some answers using the California Public Records Act.
Now, you guys, if you guys want to see the whole video, you can go to YouTube and look for the Jimmy Dore Show. And this episode is called "The Batmobile Raid Exposes the Ungodly Police Abuse of Power and Corruption." Now, this is a funny story, but I want you guys, I just want to give you my perspective and my take on it. What you need to understand is that what's beautiful and what's horrible about this story. Here's the beautiful part. We live in the United States of America, baby. Land of the free, home of the brave, the Republic, Constitution, all that stuff. We have civil court. We have systems in place and processes in order to ensure that people achieve a certain level of fair justice in this country. However, does the system have flaws? Yes. Can there be corruption within any system? Yes. And so this is actually a good media piece because it's exposing to you how people abuse systems, how people go out of their way to use their connections, to pull certain strings and levers, to use intimidation tactics by using the law to do something like this, right? So I guess you know where I'm headed with this, right? Mar-a-Lago, Trump, Florida, FBI raid. Now you got the entire media backtracking. Go and look it up. Oh, that wasn't a raid. You know, we were well within our right, whatever. You need to understand that our entire legal system has the potential to be corrupted. There are good people in these systems. There are good people who are good lawyers, good judges, good, decent people who actually believe in the United States, the Constitution, its laws, and the systems. And within these systems exist also people who abuse certain powers, may be compromised due to certain relationships, right? Compromise meaning that maybe somebody's got something on them, so they got to act out because that person could expose something about them, and so they're compromised. And because this is, I want people to understand that you got to get out of this mindset of conspiracy theory. That's a term that was made up to invalidate any argument about real legitimate corruption in the world. And then they put a bunch of crazy stuff out there in the world so that everything you try to expose or talk about gets lumped in with this conspiracy theory mindset. And you're just shoved to the side. Don't fall for it, people. You need to pay attention with your eyes and connect the dots and see what's going on. Okay? This story is a perfect example. Now, as you get into this story, go back and watch Jimmy Dore's clip on it. It's hilarious. It's on point. But I just wanted to add something into his video. And that is, this shows us, the American people, that our system has bad actors in it. And all you have to do is be in that understanding that there are people out there who do bad things. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's just facts. That's life. So as long as we are all vigilant, try to do the best that we can for each other and the country, and try to educate everyone how to use systems properly, we should be on the right trajectory to a better nation. Wherever in the world, this is the same, by the way. Doesn't matter where you live. So they, I don't want to ruin it, but as they get through the piece that Jimmy Dore does, they talk about how much money was spent. They used taxpayer money, over 10 grand, a little over 10 grand, to go 2,000 miles away from California to intimidate this Batmobile guy so that he can move the manufacturing of the Batmobile up to the front of the line for some rich guy back in California. Imagine that. There are people who do dumb shit, who are bad actors, right? And so that's why we all have a duty to expose these people, to put these issues at the forefront of debate and discussion, to go through the legal processes that we have to go to protect ourselves and to ensure that others are educated and know about what's out there. Stop getting into this mindset of conspiracy theory. It does not exist. Yes, is there a percentage of loony bins out there who, go into flat earth and aliens and all that stuff? Fine, so what? Who cares? That crowd is always going to be there. But it's about coming back to the point that it does not mean we cannot be vigilant about the way things are, not as we pretend that they should be in our heads. So people, stop calling each other conspiracy theorists. We're not that. Look at this. This is a mainstream story about a man who was friends with somebody in the justice system, who he weaponized them to go after someone and intimidate them to get something in his way that has nothing to do with taxpayers' money, unless we, the taxpayers, get to own that Batmobile. That would be nice. That should be his punishment for what he did. That Batmobile should belong to the state now. But that's just me. I'm just saying. there should be some recourse for what he did. It was not right. Or maybe he can use the Batmobile for, like charity events or something like that. I don't know. It's going to go to civil court. They'll work it out. Go back and watch the episode. I think it was great. I just wanted to add that element to it. And I want you to see how this ties into the Mar-a-Lago thing with Trump, because it's the same thing. And what you people are not understanding, what you're not understanding is that if they're doing all of these things to a so-called leader of the free world, right? Quote unquote. Who's to say they won't do it to you and me? Who's to say somebody's not going to come knocking at your door? Hey, we saw that you purchased these guns or whatever, blah, 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 blah. That's against the Constitution. Hey, we noticed that you support certain political parties, and therefore, unless you want funding for this thing or you want access to this thing, you better change your tune. Or, hey, we don't like the post that you put up on Facebook or Twitter. It seems to be like X, Y, and Z, so you got to take it down. It's not towing the line. Guys, you got to see why you have to be vigilant, and you cannot be complacent, and you have to get up and speak and talk and educate and uplift and bond with your community, because this is important. If we stop doing anything or saying anything about what we're witnessing with our eyes, you could end up with history repeating itself, which is already showing you that, right? So America is going through a growing phase right now. It's birthing pains. We're going to go to a next level. And in that transition, I implore you, take the time to look at how do we want to make that happen. And maybe for once, we could look at each other not as left, not as right, not as Republicans, not as Democrats, but as citizens of this great nation who, when we come together, we can tackle issues like this kind of corruption. Okay? because anyone and everyone can be a victim. Doesn't matter who you support. And unfortunately, the politicians we have in Congress today and in Washington, D.C., are not looking out for our best interests, no matter what side of the political divide you are on. This is reality. This is facts. Okay? So pay attention, folks. I know you don't like Trump. That's fine. You don't have to like your politicians. You don't have to like them because they're there to do the dirty work that you and I don't want to do. They are there precisely to do the work you and I don't want to do. But we got to make sure that they're not being weaponized against us. That's the difference, right? We vote for these people so that they can take care of what they need to take care of, and we can go about our daily lives, going to work, taking care of our families, providing for our loved ones, and building the businesses that we have to build, building communities, building a culture, building a society. And they're on the front lines. They take care of what they need to take care of. But when they start turning against us to pull us into some much larger thing that's not beneficial to the individuals of this planet, we got to start having a voice and coming to the table, especially since they are violating the actual Constitution daily. Every day it's being violated, and we are being complacent. So all I am asking you is go back and watch Jimmy Dore. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. Thanks for listening to me. That was just my perspective and 2 cents. I'll go ahead and play a little bit of this before we leave.
Receipts from those 4 investigators on their trip to Indiana. The sheriff's department spent more than $5,000 for airfare, $1,272 for 3 nights of hotels, $427 for a rental SUV. They say only 3 of the investigators made overtime on that Sunday, more than $3,000, a total of $10,142.76. So
they got paid overtime to fly to Indiana to go intimidate a guy. They got paid double time and a half.
The rich guy didn't even pay.
He didn't even pay for those.
Bribe for them to do the corrupt thing.
No, that came from the government.
Was it a microcosm of our entire nation?
Yes.
far. The county still has not provided meal receipts for the 4 days.
All right. So before I leave, I want to read to you something. And it is the Fourth Amendment. Right? It's kind of a synopsis. It's a lot bigger than this. You can go to the website, look it up here, the Constitution, annotated analysis and interpretation of the U.S. Constitution, constitution.congress.gov. And you can kind of read through. They broke it down into simplistic paragraphs so that you can read, and then you can get into more details clicking on here, and it'll open it up and you should be able to see more, but I guess it's not working. I mean, you can find another site, but let me read a little excerpt from this paragraph. The Fourth Amendment of your Constitution in these United States. Know your rights. The right of the people to be secure in their person, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall be issued, but upon probable cause, supported by oath of affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. This is very important you understand this. This is your protection. What this means is that you and I, as sovereign individuals or citizens of this great nation, we are guaranteed protection under the law from our government coming to our personal properties without consent and seizing anything of ours for their gain. Meaning, they're not allowed by law, constitutional law, they're not allowed to come to you and put any strain on you, on your person, on your property, on anything, to push you into any kind of a decision or to strong arm you or to force you into something, because you are a sovereign individual, right? That's the agreement that we made when we wrote this document 200 and something years ago, 250, right? So I just want just want you to have this in the back of your mind. Take the time to go to this website, go through all your constitutions, educate yourself, and get a better understanding of the country we live in, the laws that are there, what rights you have, and try to see what's going on right now with Trump. I know you don't like Trump. You don't have to like him. That's fine. But pay attention to the manner in which things are playing out. And understand that it could happen to you and me if we don't speak up, educate people, get people to understand what's happening, and advocate. Advocate for your Constitution, people. That's your civic duty. It's the least you can do. And educate yourselves. Get out there and read stuff, right? So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Go ahead and check out Jimmy Dore. It was a great episode about the Batmobile. It's kind of funny. I laughed my ass off. And thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one.